I can hear again. Welcome back to Wrestling with Power. Mr. Mosley here, joined as always by my tag team partner, Slick Vic. And Slick Vic, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, I am just fine and dandy today on this lovely Thursday evening here. I'm really excited to talk about some wrestling and some news and some also good stuff, man. How are you?
I'm doing fairly well. I was looking at the date when you said Thursday. This is Thursday, November the 13th. I started looking back, man. Doesn't it seem like we've gotten very close to a Friday the 13th several months in a row here, but we just can't. Can't get it. We can't hit it.
Ah, man, we'll get two of them back to back in 2026, February and March.
Wow, there was a Friday the 13th in June, and then there hasn't been one since. But it's always hovering around like Sunday, Saturday, fairly close. So you said in 2026. I'm looking right now. 2026. We get them. February the 13th and March the 13th.
Yep. Let's see. And November.
Ah, okay.
So we got 3 Friday the 13th next year. Are we going to get a new Friday the 13th movie? Highly doubt. As Gorilla Monsoon would say, highly unlikely.
Man, well, we talked about it a while back about Braun Strowman was like maybe going to be the new Jason, so...
You know what I think happened? I think he had a conversation with somebody involved in that movie, and he just ran with it, saying, "Yo, man, I got offered the role of Jason."
You think so? You really think he did?
That's probably what happened. A lot of people say that about Vince McMahon. Like, oh, Vince said I was going to be world champion, but what probably happened was Vince is like, maybe one day you can be champion, and then the wrestler that hears that says, "Oh, he said I was going to be champion one day."
Exactly. I see where you're going. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wouldn't be mad about it. I'm not sure I was too big on the last remake they did, but it was kind of cool that they sort of combined some of the events. You got Sack Jason and then the mask, and
yeah,
I think the most jarring thing about that movie was seeing him running at the beginning of it.
Okay, two things. I got a bone to pick with you on this one. First of all, that remake is great. Second of all,
you think it's great?
Yeah, hell yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Okay, well, I would have settled for good, but great? You think it's great?
Great.
Wow,
great.
okay.
Top 4 Friday the 13th movies.
Ooh, I don't know.
And then Jason ran in part 2. Jason ran in part 3. And I believe he might have ran in part 4.
But it wasn't the same. Come on.
I mean, he wasn't like aggressively, chasing somebody with an axe like he did in the remake. But I really enjoyed that remake. I thought the characters for the most part were all good. I thought the kills were good. I thought Derek Mears, who played Jason, was good. And did you ever see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake?
Yeah.
Did you like that one?
It was okay.
Okay, so all right, I really like that one too. So it's the same director. So I'm like, he did a good job in both films.
Well, I mean, if he did such a good job, why didn't he have a sequel?
I think this is where the rights issues come in.
Nah.
Actually, no, the rights issues didn't come until that Friday the 13th game came out.
Which was stupid. That game had so much content in it, and then they shit all over it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to... Look, the remake wasn't a bad movie by any stretch. I mean, I won't say that. But it just, for me, wasn't... Something about it wasn't... I don't know. I do like when that guy tells that girl that her tits are stupendous. I love the use of that word. Every time I watch that movie, I use that word for about a week straight.
Yeah.
Because it's stupendous.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad movie, but like, I don't know. There's something about it. What about the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
No, that was garbage. No, that was garbage. But what's funny though? The best part about that movie was the guy who played Freddy. I thought that guy was good. Everything else around that movie sucked.
Well, yeah, I agree. I got an action figure of him somewhere still in the box because I didn't care enough to open it. Somewhere, floating around.
During that period, we had a Texas Chainsaw remake, which I thought was good. We had a Friday the 13th remake, which I thought was good. Nightmare on Elm Street one was garbage, and the Poltergeist remake was not that memorable. Around that time, we had a flood of remakes.
We talked about Poltergeist recently, and when I was a very young child, I watched that. I mean, young to the point, and I remember some stuff when I was, had to be 4 or 5 years old. Like, I have a pretty good memory of certain things when I was a kid, but apparently I watched that movie when I was a kid at some point. Freaked me out. That's probably the last time I had watched it. It had been a very long time, so I went back and watched it recently. I didn't think it was that scary of a movie. Like, what's scary about Poltergeist?
Well, the one scene that sticks out to me is the guy ripping off the skin off his face. That was that was gross. Towards the end, there's like some really heavy CGI with like some demon-looking creature coming out of the room.
Yeah, the big face.
Yeah,
the little lady was creepy. I thought she was creepier than any of it. Like her little voice, or she sounds like a little kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The lady that plays the medium or whatever.
What does she say? She say this house is clear or clean?
I don't remember.
But whatever it was, like this house is clean and the house was not clean.
Yeah.
What great medium you are.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's that one scene too where somebody's swimming in the backyard and there's like skulls flying and there's skulls around everywhere. That was good. That was creepy. I don't know.
I think overall it just didn't seem like I don't know. Maybe it's because it wasn't super gory and I'm used to like 80s movies being slashers or having some kind of thing going on that way. But
well, it's funny because I actually think part 2 is decent, and I think part 3 is trash. I've been reading on the internet that most people have it the other way around. So a lot of people like 3 and hate 2. I really despise Poltergeist 3. So I don't know if you've ever seen any of the sequels or not, but
no,
they're both probably not worth your time. But part 2 is okay in my opinion.
Any horror movie is worth my time to watch at least once, I feel.
Okay.
I'm one of those types of people that, like, I'll watch it even if I know it's going to be shit. I'll still watch it just to, see how shit it is.
I also want to see it for myself. I don't want to just take somebody else's opinion. And just
right, exactly. Yeah, there might be things that you like about it that someone else doesn't.
Right.
So
we mentioned this before. Like, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But that movie has a fan base.
Yeah, so I watched it. I didn't think it was bad. I mean, I didn't think anything was like spectacular about it. But I didn't watch it and get angry about how bad it was.
I could not turn that movie I could not turn that movie off fast enough. That's how bad I thought it was. But I sat through the whole freaking thing, and I needed to do something productive with my life afterwards.
Yeah.
Anywho, speaking of scary news, what's going on in the world of wrestling?
They're well. I'm glad you mentioned it. This is Wrestling with Power, after all, ladies and gentlemen, and that's been our intro that has nothing to do with wrestling for the last 10 minutes.
Hope you like it.
I hope you love it. Anybody that's listening to this show still has to love it, because this is all we talk about is like horror movies, video games, and wrestling. We throw wrestling in there a little bit.
If I can interject, there's a very famous quote by Wiseman. It says, "You don't have to like it, but learn to love it."
Because it's the best thing going today. Woo! There's a couple of things, Vic, actually this week that, and something I had been meaning to do, and maybe I didn't do it enough, but, I'm always scrolling on Facebook at some point during the day, and I follow a lot of different wrestling pages, and some of them suck that I need to quit following them because they're just idiots. You can tell idiots run them, but, some of them are cool, and they just post news or whatever, and that's where I got my information this week. About our newsworthy mentions here, if I can find my fucking gallery. All right. So last week's episode, which was episode 16, we reviewed Saturday night's main event, which took place on November the 1st. Big night where CM Punk won the World Championship. Jade Cargill won the WWE Women's title, etc., etc. Not going to go over the whole thing. But one thing that was weird about this, Slick Vic, I don't know if you noticed it during watching this show, because I didn't. I didn't even think about it. And I don't think I thought about it the last time, but he was there the last time. He wasn't there at all. This time was Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
Did you think at all about him not being there whenever you watched Saturday night's main event?
Here's what I thought, and this is the truth. Like, I remember thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna see Jesse tonight, and then when the show finally aired, I completely forgot that I was expecting to see Jesse the Body Ventura because it's Saturday night's main event. And then when the show's over, I read online that Jesse was missing. I was like, oh yeah, what happened to Jesse?
Well, to be honest, and to be fair, I think that the first time when he came back, they used him quite a bit. I think that he had some commentary at the beginning. And he was even doing a little bit of talking throughout the show and maybe during the main event. But I think that's what got him some heat was, he was like talking shit about how not the creative, but like, I don't remember what it was. Like somebody walked out the cage door and won the match and he just wouldn't shut up about it.
He buried that ending, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, how do you walk out the door and win? How do he's so... But I think that was what was cool about him for me because, this is Jesse Ventura. He's obviously from the past. This is why they have him on here because this show is from the past. It's like a retro recreation. So, of course, you're going to, to have somebody there that was there back then criticize some of the modern things, to me that makes sense. Why not have that? That should be one of your constant... They should have had him throughout the whole show. But I think the second episode after he first came back, they had him in the beginning of it, and then nowhere else. And then in this one, he's gone. And apparently, this is what I'm reading. This is from Cultaholic Wrestling that I follow on Facebook. Jesse Ventura is reportedly no longer under contract with WWE as it expired after the last Saturday night's main event. It is believed that he signed a one-year deal with the company. Following his performance during the McIntyre versus Priest cage match, it is said the die was cast as far as using him going forward. Source, Wrestling Observer Newsletter. So apparently, Cultaholic Wrestling found it, the information from there, Wrestling Observer Newsletter. And they let the body go, apparently. He's no longer with them. I guess he went back to the Baja. I don't know what he does in his spare time.
And he's got like 20 dogs or something he raises, and
in the Baja.
In the Baja, he's not even in the continental United States for 90% of the year, so.
They can let you build it. You can build your house straight up into the sky. There's no building codes in the Baja. That's it. Anyway, best wishes to Jesse Ventura. I liked seeing him back. And
Me
personally, for my money, I don't think WWE has ever gotten a retro show right. They had, man, what was it? Was it the 100th episode of Raw or something? This was after Undertaker had... Was it after he retired? No, it was after he had lost at WrestleMania, and I think it might have been the first time that we saw him after he lost for the first time at WrestleMania, so it was probably around WrestleMania 31. But there was an episode of Raw that I think it was like the 100th episode of Raw or something. It was absolutely fucking terrible. They went back and did it in the original Raw location, and it was just such trash. Every time they do some kind of retro show, it's like they can't fucking pull it off for some reason, and I don't know why. They like the most retro thing they do is have the red, white, and blue ropes. Or the block logo that doesn't even have an F on it anymore.
I seem to remember that night where there's like pictures that were leaking on the internet of JR and the King like falling asleep on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I should say they weren't like live on the show when they were falling asleep, but because there was like simulcast from like the Manhattan Center and wherever the hell they were the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yep.
And when it wasn't on JR and the King, they were both like sleeping in their chairs.
I thought they just caught them blinking their eyes or something and said that it was them asleep. I never thought that they were actually asleep during that. But I guess they were catching them some Z's while they still could. But yeah, I think they fuck these retro things up all the time. Like people were when they were even clamoring for Cody to bring back the Winged Eagle belt, and he finally did at that one Saturday night's main event.
Yeah,
it went over like a fart in church. Like it didn't mean anything. It seemed like he had gotten a replica belt out of the,
Well, didn't Kevin Owens steal it, and they had the ladder match?
Yeah, he called himself the real champion, and he's like, "This is the real belt and everything." But I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me like I thought it would. But that's that. That's Jesse Ventura. Also, I found an interesting little tidbit here. I don't even know where I got this from. The Ringside Roster Wrestling News and Rumors. What a name. Apparently there was a tweet by Bob Holly. Some of you may know him as Hardcore Holly. Hell of a wrestler, Alabama Slam. And this is just an opinion of his. I'm going to get your thoughts on this, Slick Vic. He says, the brand split was stupid back in 2002, but I understood it from a business standpoint. In 2025, it's just stupid, ignorant, lazy, and senseless. End the brand split, bring in Vince Russo as head writer and maybe 2 assistants. No shackles. Must-see TV would return. First of all, 2 questions. How likely do you think the WWE in this day and age is going to be to bring back Vince Russo? And number 2, is Bob Holly insane?
I think they would have brought back Russo by now. It's been, 25? Like, I know he came back for like a cup of coffee after WCW folded, but it didn't. He was only there for literally like a week or something. I remember Bruce Pritchard talking about it in this podcast. But okay, so in the last 20 something years, why have they never brought him back?
That's
it's
a good
not like
point.
he's busy.
Yeah,
he's doing a podcast like we are. So he's not.
Well, no, he's the head writer of JCW.
That's right. He's now down with the clown.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I think they would have brought him back by now if this guy really had, if they really wanted to, and
yeah,
they never did. He did have his stints in TNA. I know that where, there was that whole thing, but yeah.
He ran off Jim Cornette in TNA, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah. What's the second question? Whether or not the draft?
Hardcore Holly is insane.
Oh. He loves to tell tall tales, I feel. Like I read his book, The Hardcore Truth, and the man likes to put himself over as like the toughest guy in the locker room, next to Steve Blackman.
Wow.
So like he tells stories about him confronting members of the clique, threatening to kick all their asses, and they all back away from him. He's even done shoot interviews where he's done the same thing. I remember seeing Kevin Nash react to some of those shoot interviews.
Yeah.
And he's like, Nash said if he had done that, he would have at minimum, we would have shitted in his gym bag.
Yeah.
If he had, at least if he had tried to do any of that stuff, the minimum receipt would have been a shit in the gym bag.
I never doubted that Hardcore Holly was a badass. I've always felt like he's a badass and a stiff worker and like, you know what I mean, make you earn it type of guy.
Yeah.
But for him to come out and lie and try to embellish him being a badass makes him less of a badass.
Yeah.
So
I'm also thinking, like, was Hardcore Holly during that era? Was he having his most success when Vince Russo was writing? That leads me to believe why he's advocating for Russo to get rehired.
Probably. I mean, it was during the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
He'd been in the WWF for a while. He was, what was his name? Sparky Plug or something?
Yeah.
He was a NASCAR driver, and then he was Bob Holly, and then he was Hardcore Holly, right?
Yep. Sparky Plug. He was, I remember one of his first vignettes. It's funny. He's like in the speedway, and he's like jogging towards his car, saying, "All right, I can't wait to race my car. Here we go. Hey, everybody, my name's Thurman Plug, but you can call me Sparky."
God, it's so cheesy. It just makes you want to like curl up and die.
Yeah, no, that was like mid-90s WWE for you. It was the new generation had some great main event wrestlers, but you watch the TVs and you had occupational gimmicks and just cheese.
Oh, a whole lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Holly, I hope you're somewhere doing something, making a lot of money. I really enjoyed Hardcore Holly, actually. He was good to watch back in the Attitude Era. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking these days, though. That's about it, Slick Vic. That's all I got for news. Today, though, happens to be, and we're going to save the reviews for the last part of today, because today happens to be a rather special day in the world of professional wrestling. And today is the day, 20 years to the day. This is right. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Slick Vic. Today is 20 years to the day that Eddie Guerrero passed away.
Yeah. Yes. Tragic day. Tragedy indeed.
Yeah. So,
do you remember hearing about it do you remember hearing about it when it happened? Were you
vaguely?
Knee deep in wrestling at the time?
I was, but I can't say that I remember. I don't remember where I seen it. It was probably on wrestling, because I've never been the type of person to sit down and watch the news. So, I probably learned about it by watching that night's Raw or whatever, and them having a tribute. I remembered them doing the tribute, and, each person, they would, have them recorded saying what they thought about Eddie.
Yeah.
And I remember Chris Benoit being inconsolable, like really bad. Which, of course, those two were like best buddies. So, obviously, that affected him big time, and I think that affected him on through to the end of his life. But, yeah, I do remember that. I remember them having the tribute show. And I remember them wearing the black armbands with EG on it, and, So I don't remember. I remember certain things, but I don't remember where I first heard it. But it must have been watching wrestling. What about you?
It must have been from the internet. I remember I was probably scrolling through the internet, and I don't know if this was on a wrestling news site or just like a general news site where, WWE wrestler Eddie Guerrero passes away, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I clicked the link and I read through it, and sure enough, yeah, Eddie, that's how I got the news that Eddie had passed, just probably from scrolling through the internet.
I'm interested to know, Slick Vic, because obviously we want to spend some time talking about Eddie Guerrero on this day. It's been 20 years, which is, that's crazy to me. Like, you mentioned this to me a couple of days ago, I believe. And I remember thinking the next day, as I was at work, I was sitting there trying to think of memories of matches and stuff that I could remember about this guy to talk about. And like it ran through my head, it's been over a decade. That's what it had that sentence had ran through my head, and I'm like, or it's been more than a decade. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, it's been more like 12 years or something. No, it's been 20 effing years. 20 years that he's been dead.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It makes me feel super old. 20 years. But I'm interested to know, because you were a big WCW fan from what I understand back in the 90s, or at least bigger than I was, for sure.
I wouldn't say I was a hardcore fan, but I was watching.
Okay, I wasn't watching at all. I knew people's names, so like I knew Eddie Guerrero, I knew Dean Malenko, Sting, obviously, Lex Luger. These are all people that I related to like WCW when I heard WCW. DDP, The Giant, Kevin Nash. Even though some of them were obviously in WWF before, I didn't start watching until the late 90s, so they were all out the door by then. But Eddie Guerrero was one of those names that I knew from WCW, and I always related to WCW whenever I heard his name. Of course, that would change years later whenever he would, kind of become a breakout main eventer in WWE. But I'm interested to just kind of hear your memories of Eddie Guerrero, since your timeline starts a little bit before mine and you were more in tune with the WCW thing.
Well, let's see. I distinctly remember, everyone talks about this match all the time. I distinctly remember the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr. match at Halloween Havoc 97, like just being this, spectacle of a match, like a highlight reel type match where everything was just, those two guys just tore the house down. But then I remember he formed the LWO with several other luchadors. And then I remember him like towards the end of his run where he cut this promo, what's it called? Where he was like, he was getting very emotional. He's like, you know what, Eric Bischoff? I don't care anymore. So I think he says, I got a wife and kids, something like that. And, he walks out, I guess. I think that was all kayfabe, but still, it was a very emotional promo. I remember Eddie just showing a lot of personality. But then, I fast forward to 2000, the year 2000, the Radicals jump ship. Eddie, Dean, Chris, and Perry. Do you remember that? You remember the Radicals jumping over? That was
absolutely
a big deal. Four wrestlers all jump ship at the same time.
Yeah. That was actually going to be, like we talked about, maybe like thinking of like specific. I can't think of specifics. Obviously, there are some matches I can remember of Eddie Guerrero's, but I've been watching since, like I said, 97, 98, more like 98, 99, and into 2000s. And the Radicals, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko, that was like the first real WCW guys to all of a sudden show up in WWF. Yeah. I mean, Paul White was technically the Giant, was like the big one.
Chris
Jericho. But then all four of these guys come over and you're like, holy shit, what's going on? Because these were guys that were synonymous with WCW. So, and for the most part, the Radicals as a group didn't go anywhere. But when they broke out as single stars, Eddie, Chris, goes without saying, they were skyrocketed, especially Eddie, I think, out of all of them. Perry Saturn ended up with a mop, so he didn't really go very far, as far as I know. But and then Dean Malenko, I think Dean Malenko, by the time they got to the WWF, Dean Malenko's best days were behind him. He was really sort of the cornerstone of the cruiserweight division in WCW, so I think by the time he got there, it was just kind of tail end of his career. He ended up becoming a producer and a trainer, and I think he still does that to this day. But yeah, anyway, long-winded answer to your question. Yes, I remember the Radicals.
And then I remember him in China, the whole Mamacita Latino Heat gimmick, where he was doing basically Gomez and Morticia, which at the time I didn't really like, to be honest with you. When I go back and watch clips of that whole storyline, that whole angle now, it's great. I think it's fantastic. Eddie is hilarious. China's great too. I have a lot of. I look back on it very fondly now. At the time, as I was a younger dude, and I was kind of like, what this is too cheesy, whatever. Even though I love the Addams Family, I thought this in a wrestling storyline was kind of stupid. But I did love the whole Mamacita Latino Heat stuff going on. And then my favorite match is, it's got to be Eddie and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. Those two guys tore the house down that night. I don't know if you remember that match, but
yeah.
Eddie
comes in as the champion because he beat Brock Lesnar for the title. I think the month before. So
yeah. And then he's had classics with Chris Benoit over the years. He's had classics with Jericho. He had that one match with JBL where he loses the belt, where all I remember was Eddie bleeding profusely, like buckets. Like I think he nicked a artery or something, and he was just he wore the crimson mask, so to speak. So
that was a really good feud. Whenever Eddie eventually became in that upper echelon, WWE champion, him and JBL went back and forth. That was a really good feud during that time.
Yeah.
But I personally, I loved the Latino Heat, the China, the Mamacita thing where he would. Do you remember the match wherever it was like a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship and she gets knocked out? And he's like acting like, oh no, like my poor China, and he like covers her, like he's sad and like grieving over top of her body, and they ref counts 3.
Yeah. And then later on in the night, like Eddie and China hug, but you see Eddie smirking.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't mean it. Oh man, I think I never did look at China. I never really did look at China, I think, until that point. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had that Playboy, I'm not going to lie, I had it. I didn't have it, I mean, the elders had it, but I snuck in and I looked at it from time to time.
I had that one. I had quite a few of these Divas, Playboy magazines, because the articles of those issues are always really good.
Very good, very good. And collector's items, you can't forget the collector's items, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, a quick little sidebar. It's like I remember going to a signing where Candice Michelle, you remember Candice Michelle?
Yes.
When she had her issue come out, a couple of friends of mine and she had a signing out in Chicago, and we all went to go get her autographs. God, we were probably like, 21, 22 or something at the time. We were just barely old enough to buy the damn buy the magazine. and I don't know how she felt. Like this 21-year-old boy is walking up to her with her copy. Hey, can you sign it for me? I might have. I don't think you have to be 21. You probably have to be like 18. I have to do the math again.
Yeah, I think 18 was, yeah.
I was probably about that age. I was probably about 18, 19, 20, something like that. Walking up to Candice Michelle like, hi, will you sign my Playboy?
You should have turned to your favorite page, your favorite picture. Can you sign this one?
I like this one right here, especially when you make that pose.
Yeah, this pose. Can you make that pose for me?
She was super nice though that day. That was cool. But back to Eddie. And then of course the last bit of memory I have is when we found out the revelation that he's Dominic Mysterio's father.
Yeah.
They had that ladder match with the Dominic on a pole and SummerSlam.
This was Dominic's debut year.
Yeah, man. Man, yeah, that's a 20-year veteran now, man. And he was
20-year vet.
He was there where, unfortunately, Rey Mysterio got custody of him, so he had to say goodbye to his father.
Yeah. But he never forgot, as we saw last week.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. That's wild. So he died maybe just, 2 months after that ladder match.
That wasn't long, yeah. Yeah.
So, what's it called? R.I.P. Eddie? So I don't know if you have any more memories, but if you do, please share.
Otherwise, no. I mean, those were the highlights. It's just I've been watching long enough, and it's not very often that I've been watching long enough to remember somebody. From like I said, I remember him being a name in WCW, but I was actively watching WWF whenever he debuted, so I got to see his whole career in the WWF, and he really was one of these people who in WCW, he was a cruiserweight. He was constantly fighting for the cruiserweight title and things like that. And to see him show up in WWE with the Radicals and then break away from that and rise to be not only somebody who won the WWE title, but looked like a main eventer. Like, there's certain people that have won the WWE title over the years. I've never looked at them as a main eventer. The Miz is one of them. I look at The Miz as a mid-card. A good mid-card, but a mid-card. I don't see him as a main eventer. I never have. Edge, it took me a long time to see Edge as a main eventer. Somebody who looks right holding a world championship. But Eddie fit. By the time he got to that point, he fit. It felt right. And you'll see that within the last 20 years, people, all wrestlers don't live very long lives anymore. Some do. Some are lucky and some do. Ric Flair is a miracle, as many things as he's did in his life and got into, and he's still out there walking around. But there's, it's not uncommon to hear of a wrestler dying when they're young. But I think what is uncommon is for a wrestler to die and us still be talking about them 20 years later on a regular basis. And I think Eddie is one of those people. I mean, think about it. They talk about Eddie all the time. The crowd chants Eddie when somebody does a frog splash all the time. Dominic is using the Eddie tactics in the ring. He's got the mullet. He's got the whole 9 yards. It's like he never left. Even though he's been dead 20 years, it's almost like he never left because they've kept his memory alive consistently over the last 20 years. And I can't think of anybody else that they've done that for. So, I mean, it just goes to show how important he was. And WrestleMania 20 is one of my favorite WrestleManias. And that ending, which now it's tainted because of Chris Benoit, but that ending where, Benoit won the World Heavyweight Championship that night. Eddie retained the WWE Championship that night. At the end of the night, they're best buddies. They're in the ring. They're hugging and all that stuff. And it was a great ending to that show. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite memories of him.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good moment for sure. Absolutely.
Because that was a wonderful. I love that WrestleMania. And, the Undertaker coming back as the dead man and all that. And then having that close out. It was just so good. But yeah, R.I.P. Eddie. So, 20 years. My, how time flies. We'll be here again when it's 30 years, and we'll talk about him some more.
All right,
but that's it. That's it for news. That's all I got, Vic. You got anything else on the news front?
No, not on my end.
All right, well, we're going to jump into some reviews, but before we do that, we've been at it for about 40 minutes. Let's take a quick break here. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, and we'll come back for some SmackDown presented by Slick Vic. Stay tuned.
All right, Mosley, you ready to talk about some SmackDown?
Let's layeth the smacketh down.
All right. So SmackDown came from Greenville, South Carolina on November the 7th, 2025. We start the show with a Cody Rhodes promo. He justifies his use of the championship belt against Drew, saying Drew introduced him to the match. He then puts over Drew on the mic, but says he's moving on. He then says he wants to sit in the crowd and watch who is next in line for the WWE Championship. Out comes Aleister Black with Zelina. I believe she's just Zelina now. I don't believe she's Zelina Vega anymore.
I didn't notice that.
The crowd has some boos, which prompts Aleister to ask, "Oh, you didn't like me setting Priest on fire?" Black says he's got a chip on his shoulder and he wants the WWE title. Cody takes off his tie, turns around, and he's face to face with Zelina. And Zelina slaps him right in the face. Nick Aldis comes out and sets up the main event between Cody and Aleister Black. What did you think of this captivating opening to SmackDown?
Well, yeah. I didn't find it to be that captivating myself. sort of a I don't know. It wasn't a great intro to the show, but it wasn't bad either. I mean, they're kind of at the point where you open the show with Cody Rhodes, crowd goes wild. So it was good for the crowd. Crowd was into it. But then, Aleister Black's out there, and they just had this promo with Damian Priest where they did the pre-recorded promo a week or two ago where he's like, it's personal for me now, and I'm going to get you, and all this stuff. And all of a sudden this week, it's like they're not, at least at this point, they're not really continuing that. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Do you think Aleister is a future main eventer?
I think he could be, yeah. Sure. I think he could be.
I think he can definitely be a challenger for the world title. I don't know if he'll actually be one. Kind of like where Drew's at right now. Drew has been a multiple time world champion, but yeah, in the last since WrestleMania 40, he's been in the main events, but he's never actually won it.
Well, Drew?
Yeah.
He won the title from Lesnar at Mania.
I'm saying he's had the belt a few times since then, even up until WrestleMania 40. He won the belt for 5 minutes, and then since then he's just been in the main event.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot you did say since 40. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So anyways, backstage we see Ilya Dragunov and Tama Tonga have a face-off. Ilya comes out. They call him the Czar of SmackDown. He grabs a mic and says, "Pain shall entertain you." And out comes Tommaso Ciampa. He says nobody calls him a jackass. And he says he's out here in Greenville surrounded by jackasses. Ilya accepts the challenge, but not from Tommaso. He accepts it from Johnny Gargano, which I thought was a little bizarre, but okay. I don't remember Johnny saying, "I want the match," because I thought Tommaso was the one campaigning this whole time for it. But it is what it is. So we have a match. Johnny starts off with some flurries. Ilya takes control, hits 2 rolling German suplexes, and does this pump handle delayed suplex, which is pretty good, actually. And then he asks the crowd, "Are you not entertained?" We go to break, and then we come back, and they are exchanging shots back and forth. Ilya hits a running knee, then a running boot, and a knee drop. Johnny comes back with a pair of super kicks and a poison Rana. Now, that move always makes me nervous because there's so little room for error, I feel, that, something can happen.
Yeah.
Ilya comes back, hits a top rope senton. The H-bomb is countered, but Ilya hits an atomic slam type move. Ilya goes for the Constantine special, but gets pulled out of the ring by Candice LeRae. Gargano hits a diving tornado DDT, then a springboard tornado DDT. This is the diving one from the ring to the outside, and then the one from the apron to the ring in succession. Now, that's Johnny's finisher, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, one finisher doesn't win matches anymore, even if you hit him 2 times in a row at first.
Exactly.
Anyways, Ilya comes back with an apron suplex from the second rope, which was very Cesaro-esque. And then finally hits the H-bomb for the win. Overall, I thought this was pretty good. It had a good pace. Both men got time to shine, hit some big moves. And Ilya's reign so far has been pretty good. So yes, I am entertained. Mosley, are you entertained by this match?
Not really, man. I thought this whole segment was weird, from Ilya coming out and delivering his little promo at the beginning, which again, we said, and the same thing happened last week when he was doing, or last week, week before last, whatever it was, when he was doing his big thank you speech. Crowd wasn't into it. The crowd was not into this when he was doing his pain will entertain you. Like, I don't know, man. I want to like him, and I've been singing his praises for the last few weeks, but this match, this segment, nothing about it did it for me. Why did he swerve Tommaso Ciampa in favor of Gargano? Just to piss Ciampa off. Obviously, that was the reason, but it doesn't look good on you as the champion, especially when you're the babyface champion, which he is.
Right. Yeah.
Regardless of how aggressive he is and all this, this was an absolute heel move to say, okay, I'll take his challenge and swear it. Yeah, didn't work for me, brother.
I agree with that. That was a little weird.
The H-bomb, I don't like it either. I don't like that finisher. So I'm sorry, but on several different points here, I was put off, and that's all I can say about it. By the way, did want to mention, this is a good moment to mention it. I've decided to move the rating system, the gigawatt system that we've been doing the past few weeks. I'm going to start doing that for PLEs and special events exclusively, because I feel like these matches on Raw and SmackDown are oftentimes, it's not fair to rate them when a lot of them, there's no build. There's not really any memorable moments because a lot of the times they're just Raw and SmackDown matches. They're not doing anything major. So even though there have been some good matches in the past couple of weeks, have got some good ratings. I think by and large, a lot of them have gotten some pretty shit ratings on the gigawatt scale. And so I'm going to be saving that for the PLE. Same as we do for Slick Vic's picks. Sort of be a special thing just for those times. But yeah, no ratings this week. And I can't say that I really enjoyed this segment and or match.
So you were not entertained?
I was not very entertained, no. And I think he needs a different finisher. I would like him to have a submission finisher. I think that would work for him really well.
Okay.
Do something to where he chokes the guy out. I mean, that to me, that would be badass if he did that. But the running forearm thing, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Alrighty. Well, backstage, Sami Zayn tells Aldis again that he wants to be out there for Rey Fenix's match against Tama Tonga. I'm sorry, it's Tala Tonga. And then Nick says, no, you're still not cleared. Sami says he's not going to wait much longer. He leaves. In comes in R-Truth, dressed as John Cena. He says he wants to be in the tournament and brings his own balls. Nick tells him his name's already in the tumbler. Truth takes his balls back. Aldis is confused. I did not find this funny.
No, I mean, was he trying to get a cheap pop out of saying, here, I'm putting my balls in your hand?
I guess so. Yeah.
I didn't think it was that great either, yeah.
All right, moving on. Backstage, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso are talking, but are quickly interrupted by Fraxium, who call them jackasses. This is quite the word of the day on Raw and SmackDown, jackass. All right, if only, Johnny Knoxville showed up. But anyways, Frazier looks like the lost member of the Backstreet Boys. Even Corey Graves said that too, which I thought was kind of funny. But I'm sure, they're planting seeds for a future tag match. They've been doing this for several weeks now. And then in the ring, we got a Jade Cargill promo. She comes out, she says, she puts the whole locker room on notice saying, I'm that bitch, which was censored during the replay. So it's just, I'm that, nothing.
Blank.
Yeah, I'm that, and you see her mouth move. Anyways, that's it. She then leaves. She makes her way out, and as she's leaving, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss make their way to the ring. All three make eye contact with each other. So, more seeds are planted. Any thoughts on Jade or the DIY and Fraxium and Sami Zayn? I already talked about the Sami Zayn bullshit, but anyways, go on.
I think the Sami Zayn thing is kind of tired already. We've seen this same shtick for the past several weeks. The Fraxium, the DIY deal, nah. And as far as Jade goes, I'm happy for her, but I can't help but feel like she's stealing a little bit of Naomi's thunder here. Very Naomi-esque. This promo and what she's doing.
Now, I did not watch AEW all that much, but I believe she was doing this whole "I'm that bitch" gimmick while she was there. I don't know if you caught any of that.
In AEW, no.
Okay. Never mind. Moving on. We got another backstage promo. We got Chelsea Green. She tries to tell Alba Fire in Spanish that tonight she's going to win the title. And you remember last week we had a little sidebar. We were talking about Armenian. So I saw Chelsea in Kodin Bidihachte. That means she's going to win the belt today in Armenian.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I'm sure some Armenian somewhere is finally going to see this and ridicule it, saying I was wrong. But if that person comes, I challenge them to put it in the comments section and then find me.
I'll be like, what did you call me?
So then B-Fab and Meechin interrupt and taunt Chelsea. Chelsea fires back and runs her mouth. And then Jade shows up from behind. When Chelsea turns around, she gets scared and runs off with Alba. B-Fab and Jade start arguing and agree to a match next week. They said it much more eloquently than I did, though. They had a lot more, verbal jousting for their build-up for their match, though. Are you excited for Jade Cargill versus B-Fab next week?
You know what? I'm kind of looking forward to it because I want to see what kind of match it ends up being. Is it going to be another squash? Is Jade just going to come out and squash her? Because that's what I want to see. I hope so, too.
I hope so.
I hope that's what we get. So, yeah, I am looking forward to it, yeah.
B-Fab is almost the perfect sacrificial lamb. She's a low tier. She's on the lower card of the women's division. So just go out there and flatten her.
Yeah.
And the week after that, go ahead and flatten Meechin.
I would rather see that than to have her come out and have one of those matches where you get to see, the opponent do their shit, and then you get to see the champion win. I just want to see her crush her. Just go ahead and go, yeah.
Okay. So after all that, we finally get a match. We have Charlotte versus Nia Jax. All right, I'm just going to go right to the thoughts here, as I do with most of my Nia Jax matches, I think, going forward.
Yeah.
But, it's funny because better than the match last week against Alexa, but still not all that good. Like, Charlotte is one of the best, no doubt about it. And Nia actually put in a little more effort here. But, it's hard to get a good match out of Nia Jax. I don't know if I can name a single really good Nia Jax match. But the big story here is the debuting Lash Legend from NXT. She attacks Alexa, which causes Charlotte to get distracted and get hit with the Annihilator from Jax for the win. Do you have any musings to add to this Charlotte versus Nia Jax match?
Man, no. I'm sorry, I don't really have a lot for this, man. It's sort of the same with you where, like, oh God, I'm sick of her already. I'm sick of Nia Jax already.
She's gotta go away heat, man.
She does. Unfortunately, she does have some go away heat. But yeah, Lash Legend making her debut. Is this an official debut for her? As in she's here now? Like, or was she just kind of popping up?
It's hard to say yet. I mean, she does make an appearance on Raw, as you know.
Yes.
As you'll get to, I'm sure. But yeah, it's hard to say for sure. But I imagine she's gonna be sticking around for a feud here.
Yeah, at least until the next PLE.
Right.
So, all right,
so,
cool.
Nick Aldis announces the next two matches in the Last Time Is Now tournament. First, we got The Miz versus Jey Uso, and we got LA Knight versus a mystery opponent. Nick didn't say who. Maybe Nick didn't want to say his name. Maybe. Anyways, there's
Good
also
point.
tomorrow. But
Good
there's
point.
There's also on Raw, which I'm sure you might talk about as well, because anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself again.
Yeah, as far as that particular individual, should I know on Raw?
No, but I'm saying they announced 2 more matches on Raw. One of them was another mystery opponent.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so the next match. I can't wait to hear your thoughts about this one. We have Julia defending the women's U.S. title against Chelsea Green.
Oh.
Well, the entrances were longer than the match. They both exchanged slaps to the face. Julia hits a headbutt and a big knee. Then both girls' managers starts fighting outside the ring, which distracts Julia long enough for Chelsea to roll her up for the 1, 2, 3. Granted, she had her feet on the ropes. Chelsea is once again women's U.S. champion. Well, Julia's title reign, unfortunately, was unmemorable to say the least. I can't name a single feud or a memorable match she had. I admit I'm a bit biased because I'm a fan of Chelsea. I think she's full of charisma, and same with Ethan Page. Ethan Page was here. She's celebrating with her. They're both double champions now. Great pairing, and both hilarious. But I feel like Julia got really shortchanged here and wasn't really given anything meaningful to do during her entire run with the belt.
Yeah.
What say you?
Completely agree, man. I was, a few weeks ago talking up Julia really well. I was excited to see where she was going to go and what she was going to do with this title. I thought she was a good fit for the United States Women's Champion, for a legitimate champion. But I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why they put it back on Chelsea. Why? Why would they do that? I don't understand that creative decision whatsoever. I think it was a mistake. And unfortunately, I feel like Julia is just going to get lost in the shuffle now. We'll see her on AEW here in about 8 months or so.
I felt like Julia was already lost in the shuffle despite being champion. Like,
being champion did bring her up a few pegs, and she was on SmackDown every week. She was showing up every week. She had a few matches, title defenses here and there. But she was showcased, at least, instead of just kind of being nowhere. So I don't know.
I can't think of anything memorable about this run. I wish they'd give her a little more, a little more meat on that bone to chew on to have something memorable.
Yeah, I feel you.
Backstage, Solo tells the rest of the MFT that Sami Zayn, the Wyatt Six, and Ilya Dragunov all have something that belongs to them. And then he hypes up Tala's match. They leave, and the Wyatt Six show up for a cameo. And also, we see Charlotte and Alexa getting medical attention, but the camera pans to the doctor, and it's Asuka. It was Asuka all along. Who lowers her mask and spits the mist in Charlotte and Alexa's face. I thought that was great. That was very, very entertaining. I saw some pics online later where they were showing Asuka and Heath Ledger's Joker when he was dressed up as the nurse side by side. Good stuff. I thought that bit was entertaining. And then we have a match. We got Rey Fenix versus Tala Tonga. Now, as the MFTs make their entrance, the Motor City Machine Guns and Shinsuke Nakamura come out and brawl with the other members of the MFT. So the match starts when Phoenix hits several dives until Tala eventually catches him and then sends him right back into the ring, which I thought was hilarious. Not a lot to say here other than Rey is very athletic, not just with his own offense, but he's sold like a rag doll for Tala's big moves. Rey hit a tremendous super kick that connected on Tala's chin, which looked fairly effortless considering how high he had to kick. And Rey also hit a springboard Van Damme style kick. And I'm not just talking about Rob, I'm talking about Jean-Claude. Anyways, Tala wins with a powerbomb and then a chokeslam. I actually thought these two worked pretty well together. I walked in with very low expectations, but I was actually kind of surprised. But Rey looked really good, and he made Tala look like a beast. So, I had a decent amount of fun with this one. How about you?
Yeah, I think that was the point, was to make Tala look good, even though Rey Fenix is this little guy. Also to shine up Rey Fenix, because, this was a match that David and Goliath. So I liked it better than I thought I would too. Yeah, absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised because I hate Tala Tonga. But yeah, I was pleased by this one. It was a good match.
Okay. All right. So after that, we have a backstage segment where The Miz says he made Carmella relevant and adds that since he beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, he should be the one to end John Cena's career. I don't think Miz is going to win this tournament.
No.
This harkens back to what you were saying earlier about The Miz and him being a perennial mid-carder.
Yeah.
Anyways, main event time. We got Aleister Black versus Cody Rhodes, non-title. We get Aleister and Zelina's full entrance. Now, have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn yet?
No, I still haven't watched it.
I'm gonna hound you like that, like you did for me for Akira.
You're gonna have to because I keep forgetting.
You don't have to even watch them. We just type in From Dusk Till Dawn, Salma Hayek in YouTube, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
All right, so they start with some chain wrestling. Cody hits a good delayed front suplex, which I thought was kind of surprising. Black counters with a disaster kick. Black counters a disaster kick with his own kick, and then sits down in pretzel style as we go to break. Black takes control for a bit when we come back with some strikes. Cody comes back with a power slam and connects the disaster kick this time. Then Black counters a crossroads and hits a soccer kick to Cody. Cody comes back with a springboard cutter for a 2. Cody goes for the jabs into the bionic elbow, but Black kicks him in the face again. Then we get a big high knee, which is followed up, which was great, and followed up by a German suplex for a 2 count. They trade boots to the face until they both boot each other at the same time. And then Drew McIntyre comes out, who's also looking like a Backstreet Boy for some reason, comes in and he Claymore kicks the referee. And then he and Black double team Cody. Damian Priest comes out to even the odds. All form in brawl to end the show. Well, almost, because Nick Aldis comes out and he suspends Drew McIntyre. So overall, I thought the match was okay. It's, run of the mill, nothing special. It looks like Drew's suspension will keep him off TV for a few weeks and away from Cody, and I'm fine with that. These two have feuded for a long time. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this main event?
Well, and Cody start this one out by saying he's done, he's moving on, and then here comes Drew. So then they're suspending him. I don't know where they're going with this. Is he going to come back during suspension and cost Cody a match? Is he really going to sit out his suspension, and then what's he going to do when he comes back? So I didn't understand the reasoning for that necessarily. I would have put him in a Hell in a Cell. That would have been my call. Straight to hell for him. For all of them, all 4 of them. But no, it was okay. It was better than it was better than what we got last week, and I think altogether SmackDown was better than what we got last week. Maybe not by a huge margin, but it was still a better show.
Well, that concludes the November 7th episode of SmackDown from Greenville. I'm going to turn this over to you now, Mr. Mosley. Give us the Monday Night Raw review.
Let me get a quick swig of my beverage here, and then we'll talk some Raw. So, of course, like you said, SmackDown was in South Carolina. We go up to Boston, Massachusetts for Monday Night Raw. And a packed-out TD Garden is ready for what is undeniably a much better Raw than last week, delivering several high-stakes matches, crowning new champions, and overall picking up the pace going into Survivor Series, which is only in a couple of weeks. Tonight also begins the 16-man Last Time Is Now tournament. Okay. So we start the show. Triple H in the ring. Triple H talks about how everyone has their own opinion on who the GOAT is in wrestling. And it was funny because behind him in the crowd, there was a guy holding up a sign that said Triple H sucks. But that this is a special night where everyone in the building can agree that the GOAT is John Cena. And of course, we're in John Cena's hometown. Triple H introduces Cena, who comes out to huge applause. Cena talks about his goal being to leave the business better than he found it. He also talks up the Last Time Is Now tournament, saying something about how NXT superstars will be showcased at Saturday night's main event on December 13th. I didn't really catch what he was saying there, but he said something about NXT superstars. And then he continues thanking the fans. It seems like the promo is ending whenever Dominic Mysterio's music hits, and he comes out to the ring. For the first time in a long time, the fans unleash deafening boos on Dom every time he tries to speak. They used to do this to him everywhere they went, every time he picked up a microphone. And then they quit doing it for a while because everybody jumped on the Dom train, and they wanted to hear what he was going to say. Not in Boston. Not in front of Cena. So we get shut the fuck up chants. We get Dom telling Cena that he will put him down. The crowd chants, "You fucked up." Cena tells Dom he picked the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong guy, and that he'll let Dom turn around and leave out of the respect he has for his father, Rey Mysterio. Triple H says that he agrees with the people in Boston and that Dom will defend the Intercontinental Championship against John Cena right here, right now. So we are directly into an Intercontinental Championship title match. I thought this was a perfect way to start the show with Cena in Boston. Triple H does his usual start to the show routine and does it well, getting the crowd hyped up. Cena delivers a great promo as always, and Dom does his part as well, soaking up the heat from the crowd. There were rumblings that Cena may get a crack at the IC title before he retires. Don't know if you've seen that around the interwebs and things, but there are people that kind of guessed this was probably going to happen. But it didn't kill the hype of the match as it was being made. The crowd was still super into it. What do you think of this start to Raw, Slick Vic?
I thought John's promo was all right. I mean, he talked a lot, but he didn't really say much until Dominic Mysterio came out. Like, he was basically just, a lot of fluff. Talking about, putting over the company, putting over NXT, talking about his last match, like the tournament for his last match. But it was, it just felt like he was just hyping up the fact that he's here. Not hyping up the fact that he's here. It just felt like he was just saying a whole lot without saying much. And then Dominic Mysterio, he got nuclear heat, which is something we haven't seen in a while. That was nice. But and then Dom goes for the typical old man stuff about Cena, which is cheap heat. But Dom's also right when he said that he's not even at his peak yet, and he's doing great. Which it's true.
Yeah.
And Cena's line about being invincible in Boston, I thought was great. You ever seen the movie GoldenEye?
I've played the game.
Oh, there was this one character who frequently would say, "I am invincible." He's the Boris character from the game. I don't know if you remember Boris. If you shoot him, he's the guy with the glasses. If you shoot him, you fail a mission, one of the levels.
You remember it a lot better than I do. I just remember running around shooting stuff, So
anyways, I was surprised they set up the match right then and there, and even more surprised by the outcome, which I'm sure you'll talk about soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, I heard the rumblings on the internet, but I'm like, I don't see John wrestling on Raw. Yeah, it's in Boston, but I don't see it happening.
Well, this was his last Raw as well.
Right.
Yeah, this was his last one.
I thought because they announced that his last match, they're doing this tournament for his last match, that he might not have a match until that last match.
Yeah. Well, it serves a new purpose now. His last match apparently is going to be for the title, as we will see. Because right now we're going to have an Intercontinental Championship title match. Dominic Mysterio has been the champion for quite a while now versus John Cena. All right, so Cena gets on the offensive early, and Dom tries to retreat to the back. But Cena heads out to bring him back in the ring. Dom throws Cena into the steps on the way back down. Once in the ring, Dom gets a 2 count out of the 3 amigos. Cena tries to fight back, but eats a DDT and is down going into a commercial break. When we come back from the break, Cena hits a 5-knuckle shuffle, but he isn't able to follow through with the AA as Dom slips away and throws Cena into a post. Dom goes over and takes the turnbuckle pad off. Then he heads out to grab a chair as the ref is distracted trying to put the turnbuckle pad back on. Dom gets back in the ring. He tries to pull the old Eddie Guerrero trick with the chair, but Cena falls down too. Cena then goes for, well, it negates the referee seeing anything. Cena goes for an AA, but the ref is knocked down by Dom's boot. Cena puts the STF on Dom, and Dominic taps, but the ref is down still, and he can't make the call. Cena hits he goes for an AA, and he hits it, and he goes for the pin. A new ref comes out, but Dom is able to kick out at the new ref's 2 count. Dom manages to hit a 619 followed by a frog splash. But Cena rolls through the frog splash, tosses Dom on his shoulders, hits another AA for 1, 2, 3, and new Intercontinental Champion. So, winning the Intercontinental title for the first time ever here, Cena becomes a Grand Slam champion. Grand Slam winner, whatever you want to call it. He's won all the major titles now. The match itself was okay, made way better by the result and the crowd being so into it. Some people will obviously be upset with this result as Cena doesn't have many dates left, which makes this title win seem like charity for Cena's record. And Dom's reign was being enjoyed by many. But I believe this was the right decision. Dom's reign as IC champ had run its course, and the crowd got the ultimate feel-good moment for their last night with Cena. Slick Vic, I can't wait to hear what you thought of this match and decision.
Well, I wish the match hadn't started impromptu after a commercial break. They announced the match, it goes to break, come back, the match is already in progress.
Yeah.
There was pretty much nothing going on between the first break and the next break. I mean, just, Dom hitting hitting a few moves, posing for the crowd, hitting a few moves, posing for the crowd. That's how I felt, at least it was. I know you went into more detail. But then, after the second break, we get John's shoulder tackles, you can't see me, 5-knuckle shuffle. The double chair spot I thought was fun, where they both fake getting hit. I think John even winked at the camera, or he winked at Dominic or something.
Yeah.
And Dominic kicking out of the first A was kind of surprising, even though everyone kicks out of the first AA. I just didn't think Dominic Mysterio would do it. But John and Wade were right. John's invincible in Boston because a 619, a frog splash, and he just rolled over and hit him with an AA and won. I thought the match was just decent. It was not. I don't know. Maybe I expected something. I don't know what I was expecting. I remember the match was not that good until the last 2 to 3 minutes, but what an ending.
Now, Vic, I know you've been a big proponent of Dom's, and you love his heel tactics, his sneaky Eddie Guerrero-esque tactics. You were enjoying the hell out of it every time he had a match, and over the past several weeks, I'm like, man, I can't wait till this guy gets his. For me, I don't feel like this was him getting his for some reason. It didn't feel that way to me. I felt like if he had been beaten by somebody like Penta or maybe even Rusev because they've went back and forth, that would have sort of been like, all right, somebody finally caught him. I don't know if I felt that way with John Cena here.
No, I didn't feel that way either.
So what do you make of that, though, man? They put the title on Cena. Now he's a Grand Slam winner. He's got X many dates left to appear, which is basically nothing. Maybe 2, if that. Obviously, his last match is going to be for the Intercontinental Championship. It's got to be, right? I mean,
that actually was a question of mine. I'm like, is the winner of the winner of that tournament get an Intercontinental title match?
I think so, and that makes it all the more intriguing on who his last opponent will be, because who could use that bump to the level of the Intercontinental Championship? It makes you wonder, but
unless
I don't know.
Cena wins his last match.
That would be funny. That would be hilarious. He just leaves with the Intercontinental Championship.
Puts it in his fridge.
Yeah. All right, but RIP to Dirty Dom's Intercontinental title reign. He's still got one title left, so he's doing all right. At least until Rey Mysterio takes that away from him. Calling it now. After that, we get a backstage segment. Maxine Dupree asked Adam Pearce for a match with Becky Lynch, and he makes it official next week for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky then attacks Maxine shortly after the interview is over, and I thought this was a really weird spot. Wasn't several people just there with Maxine? Adam Pearce is there. There's a couple other guys there with Maxine. They're like,
yeah.
And all of a sudden Becky comes out of nowhere, beats the shit out of her, and then gets away scot-free. Nobody helps Maxine. She's just getting the shit kicked out of her. While Becky's sitting there laying into her, and nobody helps. Thought it was weird.
AJ Styles and Dragon Lee were trying to come up with a tag team name. And then I guess they just fucked off after they, discarded that name. Dragons with Style?
Dragons with Style. I don't like it.
But yeah, I mean, it was more of like a sucker punch and a taunt, and then Adam Pearce broke it up. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Adam Pearce broke it up. So it wasn't like a beatdown. It was a sucker punch and a taunt.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know. I felt like it was a weird, I don't know, it's just weird to me. Just weird. From that, we're back out to the arena. CM Punk comes out to the ring, and he calls out Logan Paul for punching him with the brass knucks last week. Logan comes out and says that after taking the tsunami from Bronson Reed, he saw a whole new vision. The Vision comes out and joins Logan as they head towards the ring to beat down Punk. Jey Uso and then Cody Rhodes show up to even the odds and get the better of the brawl as the Vision retreats. Is it too early to tell yet if this is a permanent thing? The whole Logan Paul being part of the Vision just doesn't fit to me. It doesn't seem like it fits. I think this is probably just him coming back to show up for Survivor Series. He's going to join the team, be on the team at Survivor Series, then we're not going to see him for another however many months.
Yeah.
Because Logan is hardly ever on the show, while the Vision members are a regular weekly Raw highlight. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, they're every week. If they're not wrestling, they're there, and usually they're wrestling. I also put this could also lead to a War Games match at Survivor Series, but both sides would need 2 more men to complete the 5-on-5. As we find out here in a little bit, that's not the case. It does lead to a match at Survivor Series, and the 5-on-5 is out the window. So, thoughts, Vic?
Well, Punk sounds good when he's fired up. Boston clearly loved him. I like he's not here to. I like the line. He's like, I'm not here to wrestle. He wants to put his boot on that broccoli-headed millennial's neck. Normally, this would be run of the mill, but Punk delivering it with such fire and gusto made it good. And I was actually surprised Logan Paul was here 2 weeks in a row. And he's still the obnoxious heel that you want to see punched in the face. But I'm glad he embraces the heat. So he's joined the Vision, maybe just until Survivor Series. And then Punk's line about how he'll fight all 5 of them because Heyman is 2 people.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had I'm like maybe a War Games match, and then spoiler alert. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, from that, we go to another match. This is for the Women's World Championship. Stephanie Vaquer, La Primera, the Women's World Champion, versus Raquel Rodriguez. So Raquel is the aggressor early, with some slow-paced shoulder tackles and power moves. Vaquer gets the momentary edge and goes for the Devil's Kiss, but Raquel powers out by easily standing up with Vaquer now on her shoulders and throws her into the corner turnbuckle. In and out of a commercial break, Vaquer finally mounts some offense after dodging several of Raquel's attacks. Vaquer hits a crossbody from the top, but is unable to hit the, and I put question. She was going for a move, and I didn't remember the name of it. It's the one that looks like it's a pedigree, but it's not a pedigree.
SVB,
yeah. But Raquel's too big, so she can't pick her up. And then Raquel's back on the offensive. Failing to land a Tejana bomb, but turning a Meteora into a power bomb for a 2 count on the champion. Vaquero avoids a spinning elbow drop and finally gets in everyone's favorite move, the Devil's Kiss, followed by a corkscrew moonsault for the win. Post-match, Roxanne Perez attempts to attack Vaquero, but Nikki Bella intervenes, sending the opposition back to the locker room. As Vaquero's music plays, Nikki smashes the champion in the back of the head with the women's world title belt. I thought this was a fairly solid match. We don't get a whole lot from the champion, Vaquero, but her resilience shows why she is still the champion after the onslaught by a very game Raquel Rodriguez. The post-match moment with Nikki turning on Vaquero was somewhat expected, and I believe Slick Vic called that one last week. What are your thoughts, Vic? Yeah, it was speaking to you.
Anyways.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Okay.
I was waiting for that.
Well, I was going to hit it, and then I was like, I thought you were going to say something. All right, yeah. Crystal ball working for him. It's speaking to him even in his sleep at this point, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, well, I thought the match was good. I called it last week that Nikki would turn heel, but I was just wondering whether she would cost Stephanie the belt or she would turn post match. So that's what I wasn't sure who was gonna win this match leading up into it, but I had my money on Stephanie still. Anyways, there were moments where Raquel displayed her strength, and I've heard people say she should work more dominantly, like in the vein of Kevin Nash. But I think she would work better as like a heel Batista. She does display some for strength in this match, powering out of some of Stephanie's moves, and Stephanie ain't gonna hit the SVB on her. And Stephanie just moves great, smoothly. She's got a good mix of lucha libre, striking attacks, and some even technical moves. Sure, she didn't get all of that corkscrew moonsault at the end, but we've seen her hit it well many times in the past. Overall, I enjoyed this match, but I still don't care about Nikki Bella.
No, I still don't either. Wherever they go with this, they go with it. I just want to reiterate how well, and I did put in my notes, a very game Raquel Rodriguez. Man, she is so good. She really is so good, and she's sort of like a diamond in the rough, so to speak.
Really
She's got that big size, like not a lot of the women have that stature, that bigness to them. And not like a big, goofy, Nia Jax, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man running through the ring. This is like an actual massive, woman.
Like Rhea Ripley.
Like a Rhea Ripley, but I think even bigger than Rhea. Like, she's even got more brute strength over Rhea. So, she's going places. I'm telling you right now. She's going places. Good stuff. We get a backstage segment. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk are seen backstage talking with Adam Pearce. He tells Pearce to tell Paul Heyman to find himself a team. Pearce asks, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Punk yells, "Regal!" And we see Steven Regal enter the picture to announce War Games.
Steven Regal?
Yeah, Steven Regal.
Okay.
Steven.
This is WCW?
Yeah. I was hoping you would catch that. And Pearce tells the three to officially prepare for war. So, what's that?
Good line. Sorry.
Officially prepare for war.
Yeah.
So we finally have some build to what is one of the bigger PLEs of the year. Or is it still? I'm not sure. Just over 2 weeks away. This means that neither world title will be defended at the event. So that's a downer for me, but I can't say I'm necessarily surprised by the announcement. What about you, Slick Vic? Is it a downer for you that neither world championship, they're sucking away the world titles into this Survivor Series War Games match?
It does definitely put a damper on it. Like, there's no stakes now. I'm trying to think. In years past, was this the case? Roman Reigns had a death grip on that belt for many, many years, and I remember him being in multiple War Games matches. I don't remember who the other world champion was at the time, but yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks.
I think he was the other world champion at the time.
So he was both.
He was both for a long time.
Yeah. I'll get over it.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another match now. Last time is now tournament round 1. Fight. Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura. All right. Heavy artillery being fired by both men in the early going, making for a big fight feel out of the gate. Lots of back and forth, with Nakamura hitting a superplex and attempting the first fall on Sheamus, but only getting a 2 count. Nakamura delivers several hard kicks as Sheamus just eats them up and says, "Hit me," over and over before hulking up and hitting the 10 beats of the Bowen. Sheamus dodges a Kinshasa and answers with a tiger knee for a 2 count. You like that tiger knee?
I do.
Nakamura misses another Kinshasa. Wait a second. I skipped ahead a little bit. Nakamura turns a top rope white noise into a power bomb for 2 count of his own. Then Nakamura misses another Kinshasa and Sheamus answers with a broke kick out of nowhere for the win. Thought it was a good, hard-hitting match. Quick, aggressive, and at the end of the match we'll get some mutual respect, which made for a solid contest, a solid Raw match, I thought this was. Wasn't any kind of big PLE, but man, like I said in the beginning, they're firing off some shots, and you're like, damn, this is a fight right here. I want to see this. That was me. What do you think of this match, Vic?
No, I agree, man. This was good. Joe Test started the match saying this is a juicy matchup, and yeah. Well, I don't have a lot to say in depth. I do, actually. This was a good match. Both men actually have somewhat similar styles when you think about it. You got the King of Strong style versus the Celtic Warrior. Nakamura's offense is very flashy, but it's also very striking based. And Sheamus comes off more as a brawler. He's the brawling brute after all. And they beat the hell out of each other for our entertainment. Yes, I was entertained.
Yeah.
And that brogue kick at the end just came out of nowhere. I was really surprised that Sheamus won, because I don't know about you, but I was expecting the Judgment Day to cost him the match. They still have the shillelagh.
They do. That's a good point. You know what? I was so into the match I didn't even think about it. Really.
You can take a lot of things from a man, but when you take away his shillelagh, that's one. There's some lines you just don't cross.
That's one of them. No, I know how you feel, but man, I was just so into this match. There's something about this match was so good. This might have been the best match of the night.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely.
I mean, it was just so good.
Man. Good stuff. Good.
They paired so well together, and I think part of it too was I just wasn't expecting it. I was just like, okay, whatever. This is good. Let's watch it. It right away. They had me hooked, man. Great match. Great match.
Like you said, they were throwing bombs at each other. It was great.
Awesome stuff.
Now, before you get into the main event, I think you skipped a match.
Did I skip an entire match?
Yes, you did.
What?
It was Rusev and Damian Priest.
Did I not have any notes for Rusev and Damian Priest? Okay, hold on, let me back up. Wow. Rusev and Damian Priest. Yeah, I did. Wow. Okay, let's back way up. This was, wow. Why didn't you tell me sooner, Slick Vic? This was way at the beginning of the show.
You were so passionate and hyped up, man. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, man, you had to
cut me off.
You got to cut me off. There's no way we're cutting and pasting this. All right, let me back up a little bit, guys. This actually took place after the John Cena and Dominic Mysterio match. This was the first Last Time Is Now tournament round 1 match. Damian Priest versus Rusev. Okay. Lots of back and forth with the announcers. They're often pointing out that Priest's injured left eye. So we know it's going to play a part in the match eventually. Towards the end of the match, of course, Rusev targets the eye, raking it with the ref's back turned. then delivers a Machka kick that gets him the 3-count fall over Priest. Simple, straight to the point, Slick Vic. And maybe this is why I skipped over it, because my notes, my thoughts for this match, run-of-the-mill match of the night. These guys did fairly good. It just wasn't anything super exciting, especially considering this comes right after the big moment of Cena winning the IC title from Dom. You know, Vic, it's interesting to think that Damian Priest versus Rusev, and then you look at Nakamura versus Sheamus, and those two matches could have easily been very comparable and very similar, but the Nakamura and Sheamus match, we've put it over the moon talking about it. Whereas here, I'm saying Damian Priest versus Rusev was run-of-the-mill. Why is that? Did you feel the same way?
Yeah. In fact, the first line of my notes is, I thought this was run-of-the-mill.
Yeah. It just wasn't exciting. There was nothing exciting about it.
That's the second line. I thought this was run-of-the-mill. It was not very exciting. I felt like it was like big move trading followed by lots of resting.
Yeah.
I get it. They're selling, but damn, this needed some oomph. Although when Priest hulked up and they started trading kicks to each other's torsos, that actually popped me, because I'm going to talk about movies every time something in a match reminds me of a movie. Have you ever seen the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Bloodsport?
Yes.
There was a scene where he's fighting the kickboxer, and they're both trading kicks to each other's torso, and it's exactly what Priest and Rusev were doing in this match. Complete with the come on.
Yeah.
So I got a huge pop out of that, but other than that, nah, man, just run of the mill.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Which leads us to Rusev versus Sheamus next time.
It'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. I apologize for cutting you off there.
No, I'm glad you did. I wish you had done it sooner. I did not. I don't know how I even skipped directly over that, but yeah, it was we went from talking about the best match of the night to probably the worst match. Well, definitely the worst match of the night, but we still have one more match to go, and that's the main event.
Did you see they announced the matches for next week's Last Time Is Now tournament?
You mentioned this earlier. What were they? I don't have them in my notes.
No, that was Aldis I mentioned for SmackDown. For Raw, we have Javon Evans versus Gunther. Gunther's back next week.
I seen that, but I don't remember seeing it on Raw. Maybe I did see it on Raw, but I seen it somewhere, and it was just like, okay, well, Gunther's returning all of a sudden. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And Solo Sikoa versus a mystery opponent.
Okay. That's many mystery opponents here, so it's odd. Who do you think it'll be?
Man.
So for SmackDown, you thought the mystery opponent might be Joe Hendry, right?
Yeah, but now I'm thinking, I don't know, it might actually be this one, because Solo's a heel, whereas LA Knight is not.
That's true. Maybe LA Knight needs to. I think LA Knight needs to advance, where Solo does not need to advance. So yeah, makes sense. All right. Well, remains to be seen. I guess the crystal ball isn't telling us who these mystery opponents are. But let's go to the main event. Women's Tag Team Championships. And Vic, not too long ago, you were very critical of this Flair-Bliss combo. You said you did not like it. You were very against Flair being a babyface. You weren't for it, but you know what? I think they've been pretty good women's champions. All things considered. I think they've done a pretty fair job. But now they are going up against the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, with the titles on the line. So let's see how it went. Bliss and Flair charged the Kabuki Warriors right out of the gate with dueling Thez presses. Flair and Asuka are in the ring as the legal competitors, with Flair on the offensive until Kairi Sane tags herself in and hits a flying forearm to Flair. Bliss is tagged in and taken outside with the Kabukis working some tandem offense into the break. Back from the break, Flair is tagged in and hits a flying crossbody to both Kabuki Warriors. Flair is rolling now with a string of offense to both Kabukis, and I've lost who the legal Kabuki is at this point. The ref isn't even trying to throw anybody out, so I don't know. Ref is literally just standing there looking like an idiot. Flair hits a moonsault and goes for the pin on Asuka for a 2 count, so there's your legal Kabuki right there, Asuka. The two trade forearms, Asuka machine guns some kicks, and Flair hits a back suplex. Kairi pulls Bliss off the apron to prevent a tag from Flair. Then we get some more back and forth by Flair and Asuka. Flair gets the figure 8 on Asuka. Kairi tries to hit an elbow drop to prevent it, but Bliss catches her in and hits her with a Sister Abigail DDT. Suddenly, Lash Legend and Nia Jax pull Flair's arms from the outside of the ring, breaking the figure 8. Kairi is tagged in and hits an insane elbow drop on Flair to win the match. And new Women's Tag Team Champions. Post-match, Lash Legend and Nia Jax get in the ring to beat down Flair and Bliss. Io Sky comes in to help even the odds, hitting a springboard drop kick on the Kabukis, but gets taken out by Lash Legend from behind. Then we get Rhea Ripley hitting the ring, complete with a face mask, who is able to help get the upper hand for the good gals, giving a razor's edge to Kairi all the way outside of the ring onto the Kabukis, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. Rhea then yells War Games into the mic to end the show. This was a pretty good match for Raw. It didn't go too long, and right when it seemed like the champs would retain, a surprise attack from Legend and Jax paved the way for the Kabuki Warriors to take home the gold. The fiasco at the end sent the crowd home, with Mommy coming to the rescue, and we have our second War Games match set for Survivor Series in the books. Solid ending to the show. I loved it. What do you think, Vic?
Now, I don't know if you caught me, but when you started talking about this match, the first few sentences you said, I was holding back laughter because are you sure that world title isn't a crystal ball? There's no crystal ball hidden back there or anything, because the first line of my notes, or not the first line, but I was talking about how I was critical of Charlotte in the past. I've come around.
Okay.
Let me just say Charlotte looked fantastic here. Styling and profiling. In the early episodes of Wrestling with Power, I was quite critical of Charlotte, but I can honestly say I've come around.
Yeah.
Too bad this might be the end of the tag team. Now, Asuka got to look vicious at times here too, and it just seemed like Kairi and Alexa were just kind of there. Sure, they popped in and out for a few moves, and Kairi did get the winning move and pin. But I will say, when Charlotte had the figure 8 on Asuka, and Alexa hit the Sister Abigail and on Kairi at the same time, I thought that was it.
That was awesome.
I thought Asuka was going to tap there.
Yeah,
then,
me too.
And then the Lash and Nia came in to break that up.
Yeah.
So, overall exciting match. I thought this was a good one. I had fun with this one. Like I said, Charlotte looked like fantastic here. She really did. She was firing on all cylinders, and Asuka brought it too. Those two women really did carry this match. And the post-match stuff, cool. So we got this. Looks like it's going to be a 5-on-5 War Games match. And that razor's edge to Kairi at the end onto the heels, man, brutal, good stuff. So this is going to be 5-on-5, but the men is going to be 3-on-3.
Interesting.
I still think they might add men to their match, like 2 more competitors on each team.
Yeah. There was also, and this is sort of a side note, but at some point during this entire deal, Nia Jax's titties flopped out, and there.
I did not notice that.
This was the second time this week that there was a full frontal nudity on WWE television. You didn't mention Charlotte Flair's mishap back on SmackDown.
It's funny because I had a line queued up for that. How did I miss that? I didn't.
What
write
the
it
hell's
down.
wrong with you, Slick Vic?
Man?
No,
Man.
I tried to find the part. There was a part where the screen blacked out, but I couldn't really
Yes.
make out when it happened because whatever Nia Jax was wearing was not wrestling gear, and the entire time that she was out there, she was like fixing her shirt and trying to pull her tits back into place. But apparently, at some point, her titties flew out, and then on SmackDown, I guess Charlotte Flair got carried away in the ring, and hers were spilling out over the top. There's all kinds of breastages going on this week.
Was it titillating for you?
Titillating, stupendous, titillate. I love that word. I love the word titillating.
You mentioned earlier something. Was it stupendous? First describing something.
Yeah, that's before we went on the air. We were talking about the Friday the 13th remake, where he talks about how stupendous her tits are.
I was going to improvise and add that into my review, but I should have wrote it down. Sometimes I do kind of tweak my notes as we're going, but I didn't. I forgot, and I'm kicking myself. But at least we got it at the end.
We got it. We got it in there. We got the tits in. So there was a lot of tits this week. The tits, titles, and
the Brits like to say things go tits up.
there were a lot of tits going up and out all over the place.
They don't mean the same thing. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. But that was Monday Night Raw, Slick Vic. I mean, we got through it finally, and like I said, we're only a couple of weeks away now from Sunday. Well, from Saturday. I keep thinking that Sunday's the PLE. Sometimes it is. 2 weeks from this weekend, we'll say, is Survivor Series, and we finally get some build-up to the PLE. Seems a little bit anticlimactic. Seems a little bit rushed. I think that we thought a couple of weeks ago that the Wyatts and the MFT were going to be involved in War Games. I don't think that's been confirmed yet, right?
No.
I don't think they've even played into that since that night.
Just been some backstage stuff where the Wyatts are like creeping up on them.
Yeah, so remains to be seen. But man, very, very odd that, traditionally, and this stems from a back in the day type thing where, back in the old days, WWF had, correct me if I'm wrong here, Vic, because this is before my time, and this is me going back and researching and, finding out things after the fact. But WWF had 4 pay-per-views throughout the year. There was WrestleMania, which was the big one. There was Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and King of the Ring. Right? SummerSlam. I'm sorry. King of the Ring came later. So that was the big 4. SummerSlam, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, and Royal Rumble. Right?
Yes.
And that's still sort of they have a PLE every month, but that's the big ones. When Rumble's coming up, that's a big one. WrestleMania is still the big one of the year. SummerSlam is almost like number 2 now. It's like a second WrestleMania in and of itself.
Yeah.
But Survivor Series is kind of fallen from grace in a lot of ways over the years. Do you feel the same?
It's still part of the big 4 for sure, but it's different. It's I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just different because for the past 3 or 4 years now, what's the focus has been on War Games.
Yeah,
which I'm 100% cool with. But every now and then, I do get the itch to see a classic Survivor Series match, and I know I've talked about this with you in the past. Where why not give the MFTs and the Wyatts a classic 5-on-5 elimination style Survivor Series match?
Yeah, and I'm with you, man. I think that they've ran the gimmick as long as they can, and maybe beyond what it should have been ran. I think it's time to turn Survivor Series back into what it used to be, And if you want to do a War Games, completely separate PLE, that would be cool. But it doesn't necessarily have to be Survivor Series War Games. I don't know. I'm kind of over it. So,
if you want to go really far back, the first 4 Survivor Series matches were only Survivor Series matches.
Yeah.
First 4 Survivor Series events were just those tag team elimination matches. There was no title matches. We were venting about our frustrations that there was no title matches this year. But back then, during the golden days of Hulkamania, we didn't get title matches on that show either.
Oh, that's true, but that was sort of the norm, was it not?
Yeah.
You didn't see Hogan very often, and when you did see him, you didn't always see him defending the title. Like, nowadays they defend the title pretty often compared to what they used to. Back in the day, they didn't really. So I guess what I'm saying is,
pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, and back in the day, if you Survivor Series, you get to see the big stars, but it doesn't necessarily mean there has to be a championship match. And I don't think at the time anybody was expecting there to be a championship match. Maybe at a WrestleMania or some kind of other event, maybe. But I think nowadays it's sort of expected that like the big PLEs, you're going to get a title match. And there's 2 world championships now, so I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I can tell you this, Slick Vic, and this will go into a little bit of promotion for our show next week. You want some classic Survivor Series? We're going to have some classic Survivor Series because we're bringing back our retro review next week, episode 18, because next week we will have, actually, next week, let me see. Okay, so Survivor Series is 2 weeks from this weekend, correct?
Yep.
All right, so 2 weeks, so 1, 2, so yeah, we still have a couple of shows left. So next week we're going to be doing our second ever retro review of, what is it, Slick Vic? Tell the people.
Survivor Series 1990.
Woo! And what happened? What's a couple of things that happened at Survivor Series 1990 that people may be familiar with, even though they may not be familiar that it happened at Survivor Series?
So there was a big debut that night, and it involved a giant egg. And what hatched from that egg was known as the Gobbledygooker. And he danced around the ring with Mean Gene and Okerlund for about, 10 or 15 minutes, much to the delight of the WWE universe at the time. And The Undertaker was there too.
Yeah. And that one guy in the hat.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Undertaker debuted, and he thought that he was going to be hatching from the egg.
Yeah.
Whenever they had the discussions. We'll talk all about that next week. But it's a good Survivor Series. It's got a lot of memorable moments, and we thought that it was appropriate for us to cover that one. And we actually had a listener message chime in. It's been weeks ago now, asking us to do a review of Survivor Series 1990. I told him, I said, we'll get to it eventually, and here we are. So next week, we're going to be doing Survivor Series 1990 retro review. The week after, we're going to be doing Slick Vic's picks for Survivor Series, and the week after, we're going to have Survivor Series 2025. So, a full schedule heading into November and on into December, into the holidays, and I can't wait. It's been a good one so far, and it's only going to get better, and I can't wait to go back and watch some retro Survivor Series. What say you, Slick Vic?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Have you ever seen this event?
I've seen it. I don't, okay, so I don't know if I've seen it in its entirety, front to back. I'm sure I have. But I know I've seen different parts of it, for sure. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in its entirety, but if I have, it's been a long time. And I'm not overly familiar. So I'm excited to go back and actually, bring out those memories from deep within my brain.
Same. Like I've told you before, I used to have that on VHS, But it's been about a good maybe 20 plus years since I've actually watched the thing from front to back.
Yeah. So you can actually still, as of now, those of you out there who've still got your Peacock subscriptions, all of the old WWE Vault material is still on Peacock. So that's how I'm going to be watching it. And I encourage everybody out there listening to this to go and watch it as well. Like I said, we're going to be talking about it next week. It's going to be the highlight of the show. But that brings this show to a resounding close. And again, on the 20th anniversary of the death of one of the greats, Eddie Guerrero, Slick Vic, is there anything else that you would want to add before we head out?
Well, there's always this one thing I always like to tell everybody, and that's, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
And I want to wish everybody merry tidings and whatever it is that you tied. I don't know. I wish I had a cooler saying, but I really don't. It's stay powerful. That's what I say to everybody, stay powerful. But not before reminding you that you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/wrestlingwithpower, twitch.com/wrestlingwithpower, where we're live every single Thursday, youtube.com/@wrestlingwithpower, where you can see the episodes, listen to the episodes, and watch us live as we're bringing the episodes to you. A lot of things. And wait a second. Pump the brakes. All brakes, no gas with it, Slick Vic. We almost forgot something important here. Vic's gimmick for the week. We didn't mention Slick Vic's gimmick for the week.
Yeah.
That got me thinking, because YouTube, you can actually see this, whereas on Spotify, obviously, it's just audio now. On YouTube, you can see it live. You can actually see Vic's gimmick. So, wow, we skipped right over Vic's gimmick. I think it's because we talked about it before the show. I thought it was a baby Jesus, but it wasn't. It was so you had to show me.
I was going to ask you, hey, what does it look like to you? Does it look... Tell me what you said it looked like earlier.
It looked like a baby Jesus. It looked like a baby in a manger. All right, let's get a good look at that, a good close-up. Yeah. Scary.
This is Elizabeth Bathory. Countess Bathory to you.
Ah.
Yeah. Elizabeth Bathory liked to bathe in the blood of virgins in hopes of preserving her youth.
Well, you're not getting my blood.
Yeah, she's got a high body count, I believe, and she's also pretty influential in the heavy metal community. There's quite a few songs written about her, and in fact, even a legendary black metal band named Bathory. If any of our listeners are metalheads, go ahead and check out Blood, Fire, Death, or their first album, which is the self-titled Bathory album, or The Return. And there's also the third album is escaping me right now, but yeah, Bathory. Go check them out.
That is a very
black metal.
That is a very cool figure. Now, where did you get that, Slick Vic?
This actually is it was borrowed from my wife's personal collection.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife has an affinity for some of these evil characters from yesteryear. Babyface to some, a heel to most. Yeah.
Now, you say borrowed, but you also say wife. I mean, what's yours is hers, and what's hers is yours. So that's technically, you could take that and take off running down the street with it. It's yours too.
That's true, yeah. But I did borrow it from her shelf, where I usually don't grab some of the things from that shelf. I'm like, I'm not gonna touch it. Oh, you know what? Nah, you know what? That's a good one. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Elizabeth Bathory.
Was that shelf included in the prenup, where she's like, I'm taking the shelf with me if this goes south?
Absolutely, yeah. That shelf. There's like candles. There's a couple of action figures. There's some hammers with bunny ears on them. It's weird, but it's a thing.
Okay. Very Wyatt 6. All right, well that's it, man. It's a lady in a bathtub full of blood, It's very cool. It's very creepy. It's very sickening. It's very awesome. By the way, Vic, I watched Frankenstein the other day. Great movie. Great movie.
Yes,
I loved it.
yes.
I really loved it. It was really good.
Me too.
So everybody go out there and check out the new Frankenstein movie on Netflix. It is it's a good one. It is a good one.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Solid. But anyway, back to our outro. And sorry about that, Slick Vic, leaving your gimmick on the table there, but we got to it. We didn't close the show without it. We'll give him a little bit of an Undertaker gong, and I'll go back to, again, Facebook.com/WrestlingWithPower, Twitch.com/WrestlingWithPower, YouTube.com/@WrestlingWithPower, and Spotify. Just search up Wrestling with Power and find us, where all of our episodes ever since day one-ish can be found on there. Stay powerful, everybody, and Slick Vic, I'm going to let you leave them with...
I'd like to wish you all the best in your future endeavors. I almost forgot my line there.
Well, how about a cheers? Cheers, everybody. Till next time.